Good morning to everyone. I'm Iñigo Navarro. I'm the Chief Technical Officer of Elara, and I'm really glad and proud to moderate this session titled Accelerating Digital Transformation in the Industry. As speakers for this session, we have the participation of Emilio Anglés from the well-known Kellogg company. Emily is a computer engineer from the Oberta University of Catalonia and has a master in leadership at Harvard, among other degrees. He has more than 20 years of experience at Kellogg company in areas such as IT, maintenance, and system director. Emily is also the digital manufacturing evangelist at the company at the Tarragona plant. And he is also co-founder of Wake Up Agile, a platform for innovation and digital transformation. Emily, welcome, and thank you very much for being here today. We also have the participation of Stijn Roggeman, CEO of Brighteye. Stijn is graduated in economics and IT in the Roggeman University of Applied Science and Arts and has a master in management in the University of Antwerp Management School. He's got almost 20 years of experience in directive positions in IT and technological companies related, such as Mini Europe. He's currently the CEO of Brighteye, whose manufacturing operations platform called Momentum has been awarded by Frost & Sullivan as one of the leading MOM platforms in Europe. Thank you also, Stijn, for being here today. And I'm sure that both of you will share very interesting insights about the future of the food industry and how digitalization is being key to obtain the desired results of food companies. So let's begin with a short introduction from the topic. As you already know, digital transformation in industry is key to ensure company competitiveness. However, a relevant sector such as food and beverage is still far from having its operation digitalized. There is plenty of room for improvement, and technology must play a key role in transforming industries. As more flexibility and agility is required, manufacturing operations must be optimized in order to reduce cost, while at the same time, quality is guaranteed and lead times are required to be shrinked. Staying competitive involves aligning technology along with processes. Here is where industrial digitalizations, MOM platforms, industrial IoT, artificial intelligence, collaborative robots, and so on are crucial for obtaining the desired results. Industry 4.0 technologies also act as enablers. However, there must be a holistic strategy that goes far beyond technologies and meets operational goals that must be equally aligned with the corporate strategy of the company. On resume, an optimal orchestration of technologies, processes, and people is needed to achieve the desired results. As we have a very tight agenda today with different parallel sessions, I invite all of you to send your questions through the chat. Okay, you will have the opportunity to be answered later after the summit is finished. And well, having made this short introduction to the topic, I would like to begin the conversation with both speakers, sending one general question, but I think it's an important one about how do they envision the future of operation and all the IT/OT technologies that could be involved.
Okay. So I am going to start first, if you want, Iñigo. Okay. So first of all, thank you very much, Elara Ingenieros and IS for inviting me to this event. So, in terms of how I see the future, in the operations in terms of digitalization. So in our case in Kellogg, more specifically in manufacturing, so we started a project in 2016 that we call Smart Factory, in order to digitalize all our production processes towards a paperless plant. Okay, so it means that basically during the last couple of years we have been upgrading all the plant floor infrastructure in terms of network, switches, servers, for instance, moving to virtualizations, communications. We have deployed or we are deploying industrial Wi-Fi in order to use tablets, mobiles for having instant data access to the most important data and information in our plant floors. And also another important point is the deployment of the cybersecurity of the system in order to assure the safety of our data and our information in the plant floors. So currently we are implementing some software solutions as part of our manufacturing execution system for production control, performance, quality, defect handling, for instance, checklists, and also to have a very good KPIs dashboard in order to make data-driven decisions, and also for equipment maintenance. All of that is based on the lean manufacturing culture and framework. Since continuous improvement is part of our philosophy and part of the culture in our plant floor since 2009, more or less, when we start a lean manufacturing project in all the Kellogg plants. In summary, we defined a clear 5-year digitalization roadmap. And which is reviewed every year, more or less, and we are in this path to the digitalization. So we have a long way to work with that because it's a very challenging project, but this is how we are affording the digital transformation in our plants.
Mm-hmm. Okay, maybe I can also contribute from my side. First of all, by thanking you, Iñigo, for inviting us to this very relevant event. And also, of course, it's very pleasant to get to meet such interesting people like my colleague from Kellogg's, Emilio. Now, just to position maybe how I look at your question and how I think of answering, it's good to know for the attendees that Brighteye is a software vendor. We are an independent software vendor, and we bring in real MOM solution to the market. And with MOM, basically, this is the answer to my question. We don't consider the future for digitalization as a future built on MES applications, where MES indeed is often defined as bringing, creating paperless production, standardizing the process along the way, and connecting the ERP to the shop floor. Of course, it goes without saying this is an important building block, but we believe, and we witness this with our customers throughout Europe, that MES is only the foundation. And you need to look at digitalization from the entire value stream in production. And that is where MOM comes in, where we define MOM, or manufacturing operation management platforms like ours called Momentum, as the combination of MES, as explained, but together with all digitalized logistics and warehouse management, so WMS, MES plus WMS, plus advanced quality or LIMS, fully digitalized, reinforced quality also, and then of course APS, as it's called, or advanced scheduling for production. And when we develop this for our customers, we see it brings them tremendous advantages. And to be honest, I can elaborate, of course, because we're very passionate about this. But when you ask me, Iñigo, what is the future of production and digitalization like? To be honest, we believe only the productions who fully digitalize their value chain, in the end, they will survive. It's a very bold statement, but we have a lot of proof to it. And we've witnessed now with the COVID crisis again at some of our customers who digitalized in a very severe way, that they have gained over 50 to 60% of market share in competitive food and beverage markets for retail. And this was just because they were digitalized. So this is the future, if you ask me.
Okay. Okay, very interesting answers. Thank you. Thank you very much. Continuing with this topic, both of you, well, of course, Emily, come from a very well-known food company like Kellogg. Okay, and from the Brighteye perspective, they are well, quite specialized in the food sector with very relevant companies in Europe. So I would like to know from both of you that are in very direct contact with the food sector, which particularities do you may understand that cultural, technological, any kind of issue that the food sector must take into account, especially when we talk about industrial transformation, digital, but also, as I have mentioned, cultural, and well, knowing that you know perfectly that sector, at least in Spain, is one of the most powerful sectors that contributes highly to the industrial economy, but at the same time, the level of improvement methodologies, for example, or digitalization or other kind of tools are quite below other sectors like automotive, aerospace, for example. So I don't know if you have any kind of reflection about this kind of issue, about how to adapt the roadmap that Emily was talking about how to adapt the steps and how to do things better at the food sector in order to adapt to this reality.
Okay, so I'm going to start first. Okay, so we need to obviously in this environment we need to adapt our supply chain and our factories to be more flexible and agile in order to afford the challenges that propose our customers and also the business. Okay, so and then as I said before, so we are in a project that we call Smart Factory, and in this framework, and I will going to repeat in a continuous improvement culture. So we want to standardize, or we are standardizing the work end to end across our supply chain. Mainly, so we are tackling different manufacturing and supply chain functions with a mindset zero loss, okay, or with a zero loss mindset. For instance, in the manufacturing side, very important, the people safety, our plants, quality, of course, food safety. So these matters are very important in order to get zero consumer complaints and incidents, okay, because this is very, very important that our product not just has a very good cost, also a good quality, okay, because we have to compete with quality. Another important point for digitalization is the yield, the production, okay, improvement and waste reduction. So zero loss culture, okay, so in bill of materials, in raw materials, and in terms of so in food and beverage, so yeah, energy. So and in food and beverage, we work with batches, we work with packaging and so on, and this is very important. So to have zero losses and waste. Also the OE improvement. OE. So Kellogg's want to be as indeed the best in class OE. That it means to have 85 or 86% OE in their plants, and the real-time manufacturing execution data, from my point of view, is very important in order to diagnose, to avoid lost productions, okay, and to improve our packing lines. For instance, we have just installed a software that we call Packing Line Analytics that is helping a lot in this matter. Also, another point is cost saving with metrics driven. So mainly with have visibility of all our KPIs end to end across the different process areas that we have. And also important that I mentioned before is to have zero paper in the plan. Okay, that our frontline supervisor can reduce the administrative tasks and so on, and has data in real time in order to afford the different challenges that they have in daily basis or achieve basis in terms of safety, quality, or productivity, and also people. Reduce maintenance spend with zero unplanned downtimes. Okay, in implementing step by step different predictive and maintenance programs. So in fact, we are already working in a project as part of our lean manufacturing mindset, which is called reliability maintenance and autonomous maintenance. Another important point is the best-in-class service. So we need to put our products in the right customer and in the right retailer at the right moment. Okay, not sooner, not later. Okay, this is very important very important point. And to finalize, the inventory, optimize our inventories in terms of the balance, to have a balance between the cash flow and planned demand through and using the analytics and the data that the different systems that we have implemented in the plant are giving to us.
Oh, okay, great.
Nice. Maybe I can add to this that when you ask Iñigo what is typical to the food and beverage industry, and I think Emilio will recognize this, we see that's in a constant flux. There is ever-changing business demand. The client is always changing his mind. He wants new things to keep the customer satisfied, the end user satisfied, and to keep them appeal to the brands in the end. But this brings a big pressure to the producers, of course. And this is typical for, if you ask me, for food and beverage, where by default they need to meet this constant flux in business demand. Nonetheless, they have very often very small margins. So the margins on the cost X production is very low, very often, and they are forced to deliver first time right. They need to minimize the non-conformities because they don't have enough profit on an average production to take a lot of non-conformities. And we see that they can succeed in this, producers, but indeed only when they get everybody on board in these projects. And digitalizing a roadmap or a journey like the one from Kellogg's, I fully understand this is a journey of continuous improvement, but you could say it's also a journey of continuous change. And what we have learned over several decades in such improvement projects is that you need to look at MOM improvement projects as change projects. And we apply the good practices of change projects, you will succeed in the end in your digital journey. So how do we specifically do this? Well, we have our own concept for this. It's called the Brighteye to gain business momentum. And we believe there are three important pillars. Of course, you need to select software. You need good software. But in the end, when you talk to production companies and they start asking, they do to us, they start asking about our software. And we always ask them, why do you need software? Do you have a software company yourself, or do you produce food and beverage? And then in the end, it shows that they don't really need software as such. They believe they have data who is valuable, but they want it in the end to use it to keep their business running. So on top of this software, they need other important stuff. And we believe, as a second and a third pillar of our Brighteye to gain business momentum, we also need good partners, system integrators basically, who really understand the production process, who understand the local culture, who cover sometimes the differences in languages or process parameterization from the shop floor on, from the automatization layer, and who also understand how to implement it in a smart way. And for this, we deliver our third pillar, and this is a methodology. And basically, it always comes to methodology when you're talking about complex IT projects. We think you need to make sure the people are trained well. When you look at it from a change project perspective, you need to aim for a committee of the willing. So you need a steering group who's well informed from all parts of the company. You need to train them in a professional training center way it does. And basically you need to keep them on board in what you're exactly doing by having full agility and transparency in the actual implementation work. And then we see you can take them step by step to become really successful on this journey.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you for your.
Can I add another point to this interesting matter that has explained Stijn? So Stijn, I don't know if you will be agree with me that in fact the digital transformation is more about transformation than digital, because I suppose that, like me, so you have been working in software and IT and OT stuff during the last 20, 25 years, 30 years. So in fact, we have been having the digital has been with us since the last 25 years, okay? So and then now we need to transform our business, we need to transform our as you said, create structures in terms of people, okay, in order to afford this challenge.
If I may, Iñigo, I would like to say I fully support your vision. It's true. It's all about transformation. And to be honest, we as a software vendor in this space, this MOM space, we are lucky to have such a good return on investment, because we really propose a very good return on investment for the money spent. The companies earn a lot of profitability, agility, and quality in their production and overall competitiveness. We are lucky to have such good return in digitalizing, because the investment in terms of transformation it requires, the endurance, the resilience, the agility, what we expect from the people involved is not so obvious. It's quite difficult, in fact. So it's good we can keep them motivated with this good return, because a lot of companies would not even consider it if it was not such a good ROI case. That's true.
So I'm for sure that the role of the humans, okay, play a key factor in order to boost the digital transformation, right? So and also, so Iñigo, let me see if you don't mind. Okay, so so from my point of view, okay, the process each time are more connected. This is a reality, okay, and not just in the manufacturing side, also in the whole supply chain. Okay, as we have said before. So and for me, the people is the true driver of the digital transformation. Since technology you can vote, but you cannot vote the soul of the companies. Okay, at the end, the commitment of the people that work in them. So, and with this industry 3-4 different technologies and so on that we want to implement in our manufacturings, is for the people that work there is not easy to sometimes to be able to work with them, because they are not used to do. Because since a couple of years ago they were using papers and these kind of things. Okay. Yeah. So from my point of view, we need to, along with I don't know, with steering committees and human resource departments, and design a powerful training and development plans in order to improve our people digital capabilities, as you mentioned before, Stijn. So they can afford this challenging future. Okay, and also another important point is that we have to redesign the current departments involved in the digital transformation in order to eliminate what we call the departmental silos. Okay, and go towards a more flat and agile structure, where everybody in the plan feels important in this digital transformation journey and for the business. And then the technology, the software has to be a tool for them. Okay, and we need from our departments or in your case as a supplier, okay, give us the tools and the guidance in order to get that.
Yeah. In order to succeed in this mission, we always stimulate in an early stage of a new project to have workshops and trainings with all these silos together, where we invite the so-called business process owners, but also the subdivisional, like quality managers and so on, or also quality laborants and so on, to really, we bring them together in workshops where we start to train them. And because it's a transformation, we also try to influence them in how they look at the production. And what we often see there is that they are only used to look at their one silo. They look at what they do. They look at doing their job. They are very motivated to do their job in a good way, but they're not really considering what else is happening in the production. It's very remarkable. And when you bring them all together and you start explaining what a roadmap is, like you have a roadmap, and where you're heading, what the business target is, because in the end, the projects are being conducted for the business return, where they're heading, people will start to feel more comfortable why they are doing this. They will start to understand, and they will also understand that one day it will be them who need to guide and need to be the leaders in this change. This is a way to get them on board at early stage, I believe.
Yes, I totally agree. And apart from that, so you need to show them the benefits, okay? What they are going to be benefit with the use of these technologies. So this is very important. Because if they see, so we are in fact implementing, okay, so the different solutions in the plant floor and so on. And for instance, recently we have implemented the packing line analytics software, okay, in order for measure the OE in the line, the MTBF, okay, the mean time between failures and these kind of things, minor stops and report. So far the operators were doing this kind of task in paper, you know, filling papers, and so now when they saw the advantage, the benefits of the use of the software, obviously you have to start with people that are engaged. Okay, probably you have to start in our manufacturing plant that has more than 40 years old. Is all 40 years old. So we started in the implementation with the younger operators. Okay, people, millennials, that they are even native digital. Okay, so and then this is a good point, and a point to take into account.
Okay, very good. I see that we are not going to argue about these main points because we all three totally agree completely about what Emily has called that is not important the technological part but the human one. Okay, so we are not talking about industrial but transformation. And I would also mention from the experience of Elara that we are also talking about two different worlds because both of us three came more or less from the IT, from the technological world, but we must address and we must listen to the operational needs that plenty of times are over there in order to improve, to measure, to have KPIs, to have data, and people from the other side, from IT, usually have another vision, another needs that are very different. So mixing all these two worlds, I think that is plenty of times the key to the change management that Emily and you, Stijn, were talking about, how people at shop floor are going to use these technologies in order to allow them to better work and improve the performance of the plant. So I think that, well, I share your vision and I think it's very, very interesting. Going on, I have another question. I think it's very interesting because I am very passionate about Industry 4.0 and its technologies. And I would like to ask you about what's your opinion about the role that MOM will play in the future of factories. Because you know that in Kellogg's, I think that may happen something like that. You have an ERP, an MES, but you also have, for sure, any other kind of solutions for predictive, for analytics that are not included in the MOM, are not neither in the PLCs or SCADA systems. So how do you think is going to be the future or these systems to manage the manufacturing plants? Will the MES continue? Will it evolve? Will have other inputs or complements of analytic data, of IoT, of sensors? I don't know. What do you think about that?
So, in my opinion, without no doubt, manufacturing execution systems and the MOM systems will be complementary, and also still play a key role in, since we need, as I said before, flexible and agile factories, and in order to afford the challenges that propose our customers. So therefore, the data in real time is key for improving our operations efficiency among the use of different KPIs, okay? And we need to have these KPIs available for everybody. And I always say the same, that driving decisions allow us to do more and less, and this is a reality, and we can see that in our daily basis in our plant floor. So, and each time that we do a step to the digitalization of our plant, so you have to take into account that I have been working in the manufacturing plant for the last 15 years, and I have seen the evolution of that. Okay, and each step that we make give us more confidence that these kind of tools, Mesa, and the integration with obviously with our ERP SK as you mentioned before, is very important in order to this to be success in this digital transformation journey. To have a very well integration with IT departments and OT departments. So I just started some years ago working in the IT department in corporate. Okay, so then I know very well how they work, and at the end, the key of the success of our digital transformation of our smart factory project that we are implementing right now in our plans, from my point of view, and at least in batch plan, is that we have people there. In this case, my case, okay, that we know very well the two worlds, and we speak the same language. So I can speak the same language. I speak the language of the engineering people, of the manufacturing people, of the operation people, and also the IT. And this is very important. And it's important to create in the future, and in the future, not right now, in the IT departments, OT and IT people with these capabilities.
Okay.
If you ask me, the future of MES or MOM, what it's going to be about, you need to make a distinction, I believe, between, on the one hand, the multi-city, the multinational corporates, and on the other hand, the SME market with companies who have 1 or 2 or maybe 3 cities. And of course, in this first type of production companies like Kellogg's you see a lot of standardization already on ERP. It's already since 20 years, the standardization of ERP throughout all production cities is established. And I believe, and we see in fact in the market, that there's a new standardization wave in MOM, where everybody in this market is looking for a replacement of the obsolete MES systems by a system that can support a multi-tenant, multi-organization platform with local independencies, but also centralized direction. So with a layered solution, just like the ERP is layered. Now, on the other hand, for the SME market with 1, 2, 3 production sites, I believe it's quite different, and there the future will be about fully digitalizing first. There's a big journey ahead, and the future for Industry 4.0 in such companies is about capturing the entire value stream. And it's not requiring such a big investment, but it requires a transition. But when we see this transition, I believe in the future we will not talk of self-learning machines, but we are talking, and we deliver them already in countries throughout Europe, also in Spain. We deliver self-learning productions, where indeed with the advantages that AI brings us, and I know Elara is very effective on this and very knowledgeable also in this field. Well, with these technologies in the future brought to us by the industrial IoT space, we believe we will get an evolution towards self-learning factories with automated optimization. And this is the not so far future, I believe.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much.
Yes, because let me add another point to the comments of Stijn. So at the end, the MOM, the Manufacturing Operations Management, so will allow us to see the operations in a more global way, from my point of view. Yeah. So at the end, we are in a supply chain that in the case of Kellogg, different factories around the world and around Europe. Okay, and the MOM allow us to interconnect all the different factories and so on.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much for sharing your insights. Very interesting topics about that. Just one quick question for finalizing this session. We have talked a little about the connection between IT and OT worlds. And also you have both of you mentioned a little about the improvement process methodologies. I'm talking about, well, lean manufacturing, Six Sigma, common sense. That is also a great methodology plenty of times. I don't know how are you aligning these kind of issues? I mean, Kellogg for sure has a clear strategy from plenty of years ago about this issue, and from the point of view of Brighteye, I'm quite sure that we are trying to aligning those needs about what to measure, how different kind of tools from Lean or Six Sigma, like SPC visualizations and control, or like Smith, GPM, I don't know, whatever. How do you try to align a tool with this kind of methodologies for process improvement?
Okay.
Start you, Stijn, in this case. I am still thinking.
In the Momentum platform, we have SPC function out-of-the-box configurable in our advanced quality module. So we calculate SPC, we can set the parameters and the constraints for SPC analysis, and we create reports for a more in-depth analysis out of the box. On the other hand, of course, we generate or we aggregate a lot of data. And this is, by the way, one of the reasons why it's sometimes difficult to have people on this transition, because at first, when you digitalize, you create complexity. You create so many data, it's confusing to people, it makes them even scared sometimes. But when we apply these data in smart reports, and we can easily connect to all kinds of external interfaces for AI analysis or whatsoever. And I'll give you maybe a little sneak scoop today. In fact, Brighteye is developing as we speak, and we are almost ready with building a prototype for predicting the quality of natural raw materials, where we see there's a very, by default, unpredictable behavior of natural raw materials. Think of potatoes or carrots or beets coming from the fields, from the growers. You know, by default, they go off specs. And you know, by default, the way they behave while they are being stored, or also while they are being processed, is not as predictable as you would like, as you have, as let's to say, in a chemical production system. It's much more complex, and we have almost a proof of the concept ready, where we will have the capabilities to predict what material lot you should use first to have the best possible yield in the end.
Okay, so from my point of view, so obviously everything related with AI, such as even big data, machine learning, deep learning, for instance, to apply to predictive and or even maybe in the future a prescriptive maintenance. Okay, so we will be key. Okay, in the manufacturing plants, and also the all related with the real-time decisions making in operations by means of the use of analytics and business intelligence systems. So I totally agree with what has pointed Stijn about that, and I think that, and I know in our case, so the business side, so we are doing some proof of concepts in terms of logistics. In Mexico, for instance, there is a team that is working with AI and machine learning in order to implement or to test some kind of algorithms in order to improve our logistics process.
Okay.
So at the moment in our roadmap in manufacturing, the matter related with AI or the application of machine learning, deep learning. So will be a very important part, and we are going to start to working with that probably in a couple of years. I am saying a couple of years because before we have to offer another challenge that we have, as I mentioned before.
Very good. Very good. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, both of you. Very, very interesting. I think we have run out of time. I'm aware there is plenty of issues that we have missed out, but at the same time, I firmly believe that we have had the opportunity to share very interesting insights, and hope also that our audience has taken specific messages and lessons learned for their companies. So thank you very much, Stijn, Emily. Thank you very much for being here, and it has been a pleasure to count with your participation today.
Thank you for the invitation again. It was a pleasure to contribute to this very exciting industrial summit. I hope we can continue it afterwards. Okay, have a nice day.
Okay.
Yes, thank you very much. So as well, and it has been a real pleasure. And for me, it's always I am glad to talk about digital transformation with this kind of events.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.